Do you want to get better at Bedwars? Are you tired of sucking like ZPT gamer? Well, look no further. Today, I will be providing you guys a full Bedwars tutorial for beginners so that you can impress your Minecraft ego. With that, let's hop straight into the video. I'm going to divide Bedwars into 4 parts: Gamesense, PvP, Bridging, and others. In my opinion, Bedwars is 50% Gamesense, 35% PvP, 10% Bridging, and the remaining 5% is for others. I'll be covering all these in depth, so watch to the end to learn some tips to help improve your gameplay. So now, let's start with the others component. For this component, it does not really matter that much, but it still kinda does, as it might affect your PvP in-game. What I'm exactly referring to is your hardware. Like, if you don't have a decent PC that can run at least 60 FPS, it's kinda hard to play competitively, you know what I mean? Another thing is your mouse. If you main butterfly clicking and use a Razer Viper Mini, you are at a disadvantage as you'll be getting less CPS than those model users who set their debounce time to 4 ms. However, I'll be telling you guys how to counter this problem using the power of Gamesense. So yeah, the next component I'll be talking about is bridging. Now, you don't have to God Bridge to win at Bedwars. In fact, God Bridging is really overrated in my opinion. Here's why. It's because you become less aware when you God Bridge. Since you're focusing on not falling down, you become less aware of your surroundings, and because of that, your opponent might have already peeled up and would be ready to dive on you without you even realizing he was there. So in short, the only 4 bridging methods I suggest you practicing are Diagonal Ninja Bridging, Diagonal Bridging 1 stack, Ninja Bridging, and Ninja Bridging 1 stack. Consistency is key. If you fall every 10 blocks after God Bridging, then don't do it. Just stick to these 4 bridging methods and trust me, you'll be fine. Now, here's how to not get dived on every time during your first rush. It's a very simple thing I incorporated into my bridging. I first 1 stack. After that, I ninja bridge until the 1/3 mark of the distance. For example, let's say I'm on Lighthouse, and as we all know, Lighthouse is a 32 block rush. So if you take 1/3 of 32, it's going to be roughly 10 to 11 blocks. So in this scenario, I will bridge 10 blocks, do a 180, and check on my opponents. If they haven't started bridging, keep going. If you realize they're slowly 1 stacking, you should also 1 stack along with them. You will do another 180 when you reach 2/3 of the distance. Using this method will allow you to not get dived on, as you are always keeping track of where your opponents are. Alright, so far we have covered the least important aspects of Bedwars. If you haven't already, remember to leave a like and subscribe. Join my Discord as well if you want to. Alright, enough signing out, let's actually discuss the main factors for Bedwars. It's without a doubt PvP is very important in Bedwars. If you're losing every 1v1 encounter in your games, it's a lot harder to win. There's so many components about PvP that you will need an entire video by itself to explain everything in depth. However, in this video, I will be explaining the basics of PvP for Bedwars. Let's start with the basic. Your reach is the furthest when you aim straight. Therefore, when aiming at your opponent, always try to aim for their neck to eye level. Now, next thing I want you guys to drill in your head is this. High ground is superior. When you jump down on someone from high ground, it's a lot easier to knock them off the bridge. Now, how do you do insane KB? This is when sprint resetting comes along. Sprint resetting is basically halting your movement after every hit. I've actually made a W-type guide long time ago. In that video, I think I explained quite clearly on how it works and why you should do it. I really suggest you guys go watch it after this video if you want to know how to sprint reset effectively. Now, as someone with 200 ms, I personally prefer block hitting. I don't know if this works for low ping, but if you have high ping, what you can do is just hold W and block hit spam while doing a bit of AD tapping. For me, it works really well and I suggest you guys with 200 ms to give it a shot. Alright, next thing I want to talk about is item utilization. Knowing when and what item to use in a specific scenario is super crucial, as it can help you survive certain situations. For example, we have fireball jumps or TNT jumps. Knowing how to do this might help you escape certain situations that you normally can't. Learning how to use blocks to obstruct your opponent is a skill that will naturally develop through experience of playing more Bedwars. Which leads me to my next point, hotkeying. It's really hard to do all these cool things fast by just using your scroll wheel. 2 reasons. 1, it's not accurate, and 2, it's not that fast. By changing the last few slots to some other key that is within your reach, you're able to access your entire hotbar with ease. Hotkeying comes with a lot of practice, especially if you come from playing with scroll wheel. When practicing, I suggest completely ditching your scroll wheel and not touching it at all while playing. Get used to hotkeying and trust me, your experience while PvPing will be much more fluent and smoother. Now the last thing I want to talk about is movement. Minecraft KB is based on forward velocity. If you're moving faster than your opponent, you will take less KB than your opponent. And if you take less KB than your opponent, it's much more easier to combo your opponent. Hence, I would like to emphasize how powerful speed 2 pods are. They give you such an advantage when fighting stacked players, and it's honestly a really worthy investment if you have spare emerald lying around. Now, for the part you guys all have been waiting for, Gamesense. Gamesense is just too huge to cover in one video, and it honestly just comes through experience. But in short, what it all means is to not be an idiot. What do I mean by that? Alright, let me paint you guys a scenario. Let's say a player is flat bridging to your base. What should you do? Should you A, stand there and watch him bridge over to your base, or B, pillar up and try to contest it? I'll give you guys 5 seconds. If you choose A, you might as well uninstall Minecraft and just go watch the latest season of Demon Slayer. You will obviously choose B, right? Applying pressure to your opponents will make it harder for them to break your bed. Also, if they don't realize you're pillaring up, there is a very high likelihood that you can knock them into the void with ease. Alright, so now you know the basics of Gamesense. I'm gonna tell you guys the common mistakes of beginners so that you can avoid making these stupid mistakes as well. Number 1. Rushing the wrong side. Every map is built different. Some maps are forward rush, some maps are sideways rush, and some maps are even diagonal rush. So Sando, where do I rush? Well, if I'm being honest with you, even I myself don't know sometimes. However, a simple rule of thumb to follow is just rush the base that is closest to you. If the base beside you is the closest, side rush it. If the base in front of you is the closest, forward rush it. I will only change where I rush only if some other team completely ditch their closest rush and go straight for me. If I was in a scenario where I'm getting double rushed, I'll do 2 things. 1. I pray really hard that someone rushes the team that wasn't supposed to rush me. And 2. I would play super defensively. For example, let's say I'm blue team and red team is above me. What I would do is I would run out and immediately go back inside. Never let your opponent jump on you. The moment you leave your base, you're instantly gonna get knocked into the void. Hence, it's just smarter to stay in your base. Make sure you're constantly running so your opponent won't think you're just AFK. During this time, get fireballs, gapples, or even armor. That way, when they do drop down, you can have a higher chance of winning. The second common mistake I see beginners make is that they don't go for diamonds. When you're playing 3s or 4s, diamond upgrades don't really matter that much. However, when you're playing solos or duos, you really need the team upgrades. It's pretty self-explanatory why you need diamonds. Like if you have prot 2 and your opponent has no prot at all, the advantage you have on your opponent is just so high. Now finally, the third mistake I see beginners make is that they don't keep track of their opponents enough. Fun fact, the sidebar actually tells you where the bases are. So like, red is next to blue and green is next to yellow. Beginners often go somewhere else without realizing what are the current threats to their base. I'm going to paint you a scenario. Let's say your pink team, grey team and blue team has been eliminated from the game. Who do you think might rush you next? Some people might say it's white. Some people might say it's red. However, there are some people who don't even know that they might be rushed at any time. Because of this mistake, many beginners will spend too much time in middle and this might lead to their bed being broken. This all can be simply avoided if they knew what were their threats by just simply looking at the sidebar. Alright, so these are the common mistakes. Now, I would like to tell you 2 very important concepts that you should know. Voiding and splitting. Let's start off with voiding. When someone says void, what they mean is, wherever you are, jump down into the void. This is commonly done when you realize that there's an opponent coming to your base and you want to try to defend it. Now for splitting, it basically means you stand 1 block next to the gen, just like so, and you wait for your teammate to enter. Basically what it does is it doubles the loot as everyone gets the loot in the generator. Alright, I think I said enough. Now, the moment you all have been waiting for, how do you actually win a game of Bedwars? I have come up with a simple 10-step process to win. Take a look at it. Here are the 10 steps to victory. Okay, this guy is sexist. Step 1. Get a pickaxe and a stack of blocks. Step 2. Bridge the opponent base. Step 3. Kill your opponent. Step 4. Break their bed. Step 5. Kill them again. Step 6. Go to middle. Step 7. Collect amps. Step 8. Buy prot, mining footing, and obsidian. Step 9. Place obsidian. Step 10. Hunt for bases that are nearby you or you think they are a threat. Don't forget to spam block it. Repeat this step until you win the game. So easy! Okay, but what if you lose your bed? Now, it's time to clutch. This is how I would clutch a game of Bedwars. Alright, so first thing first, what you need to do first is to stay calm. Tell yourself that everything is going to be alright. You got this, I know you can. It's basically Bedwars, but you can't die once. And surprisingly, it's not that hard once you're stacked. Which leads me to my next point, get rich. Get all the diamonds you can. Get all the emeralds you can. Most people with beds are going to be too busy rushing teams. Hence, this will be a good opportunity to take a breather and just get so strong that you can't die easily. Let's start off with diamonds. For me, I would personally go for prot 2 over sharpness. Reason being is because it gives me more opportunities to combo my opponent. Like, let's say I get comboed but I didn't die. I can still go in and try to get another combo. Other than that, just prioritize getting sharp and prot instantly. Now for emeralds. It honestly really depends what plan I have in mind. However, here's a rough guideline on things I would buy. If I have 1 to 3 emeralds, I would get speed pots or jump pots. You can use these pots to get out of tight situations, or if you need to, take on an opponent who is slightly more stacked. If I have 4 to 9 emeralds, I will get either 1 to 2 ender pearls and followed by speed or jump pots. I always prioritize pearls as they are going to be your lifesavers if you do fall into the void. If I have 10 or more emeralds, I will get diamond armor, a pearl, and the rest of the emeralds can be used for pots. Then you might ask me, when can I buy a diamond sword? I personally really don't use diamond swords as there's void everywhere, so most of the time you can just try to knock your opponent into the void rather than straight up killing him. However, I would only buy a diamond sword if 1. I'm so rich that buying more pots or ender pearls would be redundant, or 2. When I'm stuck in someone's base and there's 2 players trying to trap me and kill me. In that situation, it would be smarter to buy a diamond sword rather than pearls and pots. Alright, now what other items should I get for clutching? Here are some things you can buy that doesn't cost amps. You should buy plenty of gapples, as it's always good to have absorption hearts when fighting someone and you get that juicy healing if you take damage. Another thing I would get are iron golems. No teammate? No problem. You can buy a second teammate for a price of 120 iron. They can help you fend off opponents while you're trying to heal, or you can use them to start a combo, as if your opponent does get hit by the golem, they are sent flying and thus it will be easier for you to combo them as your reach is better from low ground compared to high ground. Other than golems, fireballs are pretty good too. They can be used to move around to get some distance away from your opponent, or alternatively, you can use the fireball to knock your opponent into the void. Alright, so now what? What exactly should you do after you become rich? Well, it's simple. You want to try to stay alive for as long as possible until there's like 1 to 2 teams left. This is when game sense is important. If let's say team A rushes team B, you can rush team A. If let's say both teams doesn't rush, just wait patiently for a bad break. Or what if you're like me who's impatient? Well, just rush the team that is the weakest. Before you rush any team, make sure you have a plan in your head. Don't just simply walk in without a strategy in mind. Some things you need to keep in mind are: how am I going to break the bed? How am I going to escape if my plan fails? How am I going to take down all of them? If possible, try to figure out what bed defense they have before rushing. If they have obby, well, just get magic milk and invest and rush their base. After all that, now it's about playing safe and just repeat this process until you win the game. Very easy. Alright, that's basically it for clutching. Before we end this video, I would love to give a few more tips to help you better your gameplay. Let's go! Rushing bases. When you're rushing a base, your main goal is to break the bed. If you realize your opponent is dumb and don't realize that you're breaking the bed, just keep going. Don't bother killing them. However, if you do have to kill them, try to always lure them to the edge. Maintain high ground. When you're above them, they are either forced to pillar up or go into their base and get a fireball, both of which can be countered. When they pillar up, just jump on them and block hit spam. If they enter their base, quickly burrow yourself into the bed and just break the bed as fast as possible. Once their bed is gone, most players will change their playstyle and play more defensively, which then you can use it to your advantage. Defending your base. If you think your opponent has a TNT, what I like to do is I like to make a roof just like so and try to catch the TNT. It might block the TNT if you're fast enough, and it's definitely better than not putting any roof. If you realize your base is about to be broken and you know you can't save it, Just go take all your loot and buy an iron sword and possibly a fireball in case they attempt to run away. Getting chased. Unless they have fireballs, running should be quite easy. Try to always obstruct the bridge by either blowing up the bridge or just spamming it with blocks. Another tip of running is to not run in a random direction. Try to plan a route in your head and try to figure out how you're gonna kill the guy and how you're gonna escape. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this in-depth tutorial. There's still so many factors to cover about in Bedwars that it's impossible to cover everything in one video. But yeah, that's it from me today. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.